I want to talk about anxiety and exercise. So, when it comes to your anxiety, does exercise help it or does it hurt it? I'm really curious to know. Does it make it worse or does it make it better? I think the science overwhelmingly suggests that exercise helps with anxiety and depression. But the question is, what kind? Going back to when I was a lot younger, without any kind of sense of purpose when it comes to exercise and things like that, you know, I would get these anxiety attacks and I would be full of anxiety, not eating very healthy and not exercise. And I would get these bouts of, man, I need to get out and exercise. Maybe that'll help with the butterflies in my stomach and the crazy thoughts in my head and all that kind of stuff. So what I would do is I would strap on my running shoes and go out for a run and run as hard as I could. And it would make me feel awesome that very day. It would make me feel great. I would have all these endorphins running through my system and I would get that runner's high. And then I would get inside, I would go back to eating terribly and then feel good for a little bit, but then obviously descend back into my problematic thinking. Next day, I would wake up sore and tired and everything like that, but committed to do it again because it was helping with my anxiety. So I would go out, I would strap on my running shoes, and I would run. And what would happen is I would not be running as fast as I was the previous day, but okay, it was, it was still doing its work and I was feeling it. And I would do this day after day after day. Because that's what I thought I had to do. I didn't follow a plan or anything like that. So day after day, I would go out and run, or I would go out and lift weights and lift as heavy as I could, or do whatever I needed to do. And then over time, what I found was that as I continued to be sore, as I got injured and things like that, I would descend back into unhealthy habits, or I would just it would make my anxiety worse because it wasn't working. So I would eventually just quit exercising altogether and go straight back to what I was doing before, possibly worse. And then my anxiety got worse. So in that sense, the way that I was doing it before, the way that I was exercising, the way that I was utilizing a quote unquote healthy lifestyle was actually making my anxiety worse. I was putting my body under tremendous stress because I was going out every single time and doing intensity kind of workouts. And when I was putting my body under stress, my immune system was under stress. My body was fatigued. I was constantly creating a stress response. My heart rate was constantly elevated because I was overtrained. And when your heart rate is naturally elevated, you're going to feel more of a sense of anxiety. So obviously, in that sense, anxiety was not helping with my anxiety. It was making it worse. And I think that's what we have to be careful of when we hear blanket statements like exercise helps with anxiety or exercise helps with depression. It is really important to know that it's the type and and how you exercise that helps with those things. So what does help? What did help me with my anxiety when I got into exercise? Well, when I discovered the purposeful kind of exercise and taking it easy, when I discovered that through a lot of research that easy aerobic exercise is the way to sustainably get healthy and fit. I also discovered the amazing psychological benefits of that going out and training well below your threshold pace, or at an easy aerobic pace where your heart rate is much lower than it would be if you just went out and ran as hard as you can or lift as many heavy weights as you could. When I started doing that, I noticed that my mind became clearer. I became more energized. My resting heart rate got lower, which means that if my heart rate is nice and low during resting state, it means that my body's not under this tremendous stress and I'm not producing that anxiety or fear response. So I found that it did not completely take away my anxiety, because as I said in a previous video, it never really goes away, but it alleviated it more often. It cleared my head. It elevated my level from here to here while my anxiety stayed down here. And that was an important concept. Not only that, I was getting healthier, I was getting more fit, I had a better immune system, and my body was not constantly under a state of stress. Um, so that's, not to say that intense workouts don't have their place. They do. You can sprinkle them in. It's like the sugar when you're baking a cake. You don't want to overwhelm the cake with just sugar. I mean, the cake is mostly flour, and pardon me, I'm not a baker, so I don't know these things, but you want to sprinkle in the sugar to make it sweet. And that's the same thing with intensity and intense workouts. You sprinkle it in a purposeful manner. And that's really the point of this. So how do you approach exercise to alleviate anxiety or depression? Well, you do it with purposeful workouts, meaning every workout has to have a purpose. So if your purpose is to just go out and if your purpose is to that I want to go out and work out so that I can alleviate my anxiety, well, what you're going to do is you're going to go out, and because you're anxious, you're going to go run as hard as you can and try to outrun the demons. And that's not going to work. So instead, if you go out and say, I want to go out and work out, ease my anxiety, but I want to make it meditative and easy and approach it from not exceeding this particular heart rate, which is in my aerobic zone. Well, you're going to go out and you can make it a meditative experience. And how you do that is you can align your breath with your cadence, meaning how many steps you take per minute. And you can align that with your heart rate. And that basically creates this sense of harmony within your body that allows you to focus on something that is more calming, put you in a meditative state, and also allow your body to start getting healthy. So for example, if you're going to go out for an easy run, you can look at it as, all right, I'm going to take one breath in for every 4 steps I take, and then one breath out for every 4 steps I take. Or if that's not enough and you're finding that you're gasping for air, take a 3 breaths for every step in, 3 breaths for every step out. And you just continue to focus on that, making it easy, making it so that you can converse and talk in complete sentences, because that tells you that you're going easy. And then your heart rate. If you have a heart rate monitor, you can look at your heart rate and determine if you're going easy by using something called the Maffetone method. That's where you take 180 and you subtract your age. So if you're 40 years of age, that would be 140. And you basically, generally speaking, you try to stay underneath that number. And you can adjust that number depending on your level of fitness right now. If you haven't been working out a lot, you can reduce that number by 5 or 10. Or if you have been working out a lot, you increase that number by 5 or 10. That's how you would do that. And that you'll find is just, it brings your body into harmony. It makes it so that you can make the exercise a meditative experience. And then additionally, as you approach this, any kind of workout with intensity, because for a lot of people, intense workouts do actually alleviate anxiety, but it's just never good to do every single day. So take it maybe once or twice a week, where you make that intense workout and you make that purposeful as well. You say, all right, I'm not just going to go out and run as hard as I can for 30 minutes to an hour or whatever it is. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do 5 by 1 minute or something like that. That's like this. And it's always good to have maybe a coach or a plan that is already in existence to help with that. So things like that. So as far as exercise to alleviate anxiety, make it purposeful, make it mostly aerobic, make it meditative. And that's how you do it, instead of just going out and running without much of a plan. That's what will really help. And I do see a question here as far as from Ashley Kirtan, and I want to address, I hope that's how you say your name. Does snorkeling in the sea help with anxiety? And I think that depends. I'm not sure, to be honest. For me, I find it very calming. I find able to focus, my attention on the beauty that surrounds me very calming. And it also helps, to be able to breathe in fully and everything like that. But in a lot of cases, perhaps the idea of using a snorkel constricts the breathing a bit, and you're not getting in as much air as you would when you're breathing regularly. So for some people, it may actually be more anxiety inducing. I think it depends on really how your you know, how your anxiety is related to that particular activity. For me, I find that kind of thing very calming, but for some that may be fearful of being in that open ocean environment, it may be more anxiety inducing. But that's not to say you can't immerse yourself in that environment in a safe way and make it calming and make it enjoyable. And that's actually a good way to get over your anxiety as well, is to immerse yourself safely into that thing, to get over that and transcend that fear. So I hope that helps, and I hope everyone has a good day. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks again.